The Texas Rangers have defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5, and they have won the World Series. I gotta start off congratulating them. They earned it so badly. They faced adversity all season. The DeGrom injury, the trades. I have a Ranger fan who's a little bit of a negative Nancy, and he did not like any of the signings, any of the trades. And hey, he was happy they were in the World Series, but he wanted to go to the World Series. And he said he was hoping that Arizona would win today so he can go to Game 6. They didn't, and he's sad. You can't win, man. You can't win. Texas earned it. I'm happy for Mike Maddox, even though that whole attaboy moment in Game 2, whatever. He earned it. He had to wait a long time to get his first World Series ring. Probably won't even make it to his age. So, I mean, he had to wait a long time, man. He earned that. The team earned it. Texas played clean. If you told me who would I want to cheer for if Arizona doesn't win a World Series, I would say, yeah, Texas. Might as well. So, they earned it, man. 100%. Seager was great. I wish he didn't pitch him so many strikes, but sure, he was great. The whole lineup from like top to bottom, you had to worry about every guy, even Tavares. Like you had to worry about every guy on that team, and they just kept overcoming everything. When they made Leclerc their closer, I said, there they go. He should have been the closer day one. I don't know if he had an injury or not. I know he had Tommy John, but he, to me, was clearly their closer. Even when I went to the game when they played Oakland, I want to say I mentioned that in one of my recaps. I went to a Ranger game this year when they played Oakland, and Will Smith was the closer at that time. But I always said Leclerc should be the closer. And they got their bullpen under control when it was atrocious all season. They got it under control when it really mattered. So, Texas, I spent the first 3 minutes of my recap congratulating y'all because y'all really deserved it. This one's only going to be 15 minutes. I know I did a half-hour recap in Game 3 because that's the revelation and this is just the acceptance. And for those who have not watched it, Game 3 was the game where I said, I can never have faith again. The 2011 Canucks should have told me that when they were up 3-2 and they lost Game 7 4-0. It would have been very ironic had the Diamondbacks lost 4-0 today, but they lost 5-0. I gotta tell myself not to have faith until, one of your teams actually wins it all in my adulthood. I'm saying 2011 onward. I'm glad I have 2001. I'm glad I have a memory where they overcame the Yankees, the big evil empire, and they won the greatest World Series of all time. And you know what, Texas? You're in our club now. You're one. Well, you were in the World Series 3 times, so you're 1-2 or 1-1. I would have really liked to have died not ever losing a World Series, but you know what? At least you're getting there. Okay. So Game 3, I emotionally took myself out. I was still getting mad, but the pain was gone. I'm going to start the recap with, not this recap, the recap of the game, with some negative. You were 0 for 10 in runners in scoring position. You can't do that in an elimination game. Game 5 of the World Series, 0 for 10. I didn't like Marino doing that bunt. Didn't like it at all. Even if it led 2 runs, didn't like it. And the Rangers, the first opportunity they had runners in scoring position, they scored, which, by the way, was the 7th inning. They were getting no hit. And I knew Gallen was going to no-hit them. It reminded me of the Braves series when he was perfect through 6, I want to say, and he gave up a solo bomb. I'm actually shocked that when Seager came up to bat and broke up the no-hitter, it wasn't a solo bomb. It was a hit. Rangers got 3 straight hits, and they scored a run. That, to me, yeah, they 100% deserved the World Series because of that. They scored with runners in scoring position. We didn't. And that really made me embarrassed. It was embarrassing. I haven't really gone online and looked at all the bad comments. I've been seeing more positive, but to me, I was a little embarrassed by the way they went out. They went out so lousy. A shutout in an elimination game. You were so poised after game 2, and then you lose 3 straight at home. And I know the Rangers are road warriors. They haven't lost at home. They haven't lost a game on the road all postseason. Excuse me, geez. But I thought they're probably going to lose 1. I thought they would have won game 4 because that was a bullpen day, and our early bullpen may have had some trouble, and they did. But I thought he had a chance for Scherzer, and I thought Gallen was going to bounce back, and he did. Gallen deserves no blame for tonight. But man, a lot of missed opportunities. And it stinks. But I can't cloud that. I'm only making this recap 15 minutes because I'm really hungry and I want to make some lean cuisine. So, what now? What's the plan? Your expectations going into the season, for me at least, was gunning for the playoffs. I wouldn't have been upset if they missed it, but they had to make an attempt. The beginning of the season, they played unreal. I thought they would hit a wall, but they continued it, and it kept going. They kept going. I said, this team looks legit. And then July, August happened when they went on a cold streak, and it really deflated me. And it was right in front of me. I might not have ever mentioned it, but it was clear hindsight 2020 now. It's because Marino got hurt. They had Herrera and Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly was so bad they just flat out got rid of him. Herrera, I mean, what do you expect from him? He's not really a high-end prospect, and hey, he actually did pretty good in his 2 at-bats in the playoffs, but you had no depth. None. And Marino is pretty key to this. He was key to the whole thing. And when he came back, they weren't as sharp as they were at the start of the season, but they still maintained the course. They fell ass over backwards to make the playoffs. They lost their last 4 games, but you make the playoffs. And I said, just have fun. Don't be embarrassed. Don't get embarrassed. And they won the first 2 in Milwaukee. They swept Milwaukee in a mini sweep. And I was so happy that they won a game. And they swept the Brewers. But they went up against the Dodgers, and I said, good luck, guys. I don't know how you're all going to win this, but at the same token, the Dodgers lost to the Padres last year. They swept them. Now, I know this was not a Dodgers team that was fully healthy. They were missing Walker Buehler and all these starting pitching. The only one they had was Kershaw, who's a little washed. You beat the hell out of him. They had a rookie in Lance Lynn. So you were not, in my eyes, playing like the Dodgers, but their offense was healthy, and you completely limited them. Brandon Pfaadt was legendary in these games. And then you had Philly. And I lost faith after game 2 when they lost 10-0, but I kept watching. They made it interesting. They lost game 5. I went, okay, I just don't see how you're going to win game 6 and 7. And they do. They make the World Series. I have to keep reminding myself that because even though I'm sad, dude, they made the World Series. They made it. Out of the blue. And you look at the teams that they beat. Besides Milwaukee, which I'm not totally shocked they beat Milwaukee. I was happy they did, but I'm not totally shocked. Dodgers, yeah, a little. I know that the pitching was flawed, but I thought their offense was going to go off on us. And Philly. The Dodgers smoked you in the regular season. So did Philly. And you beat both of them. And I'm thinking, you're now going up against Texas, who you won 3 or 4 against, and you couldn't beat them. And it's like, man, I guess the regular season really doesn't matter. Texas, they earned it. Honestly, I'm happy for them. It just had to be us. I know in a weird way, in a perfect world, they would have lost to the Phillies in a spirited effort, and then this happened to Philadelphia. Maybe not, I don't know. They made the World Series. And as lousy as they looked the last few days, I know it will wash over. I'm not going to have faith again. I know it'll wash over. But now, to wrap it up, I just have to think about the off season. I might post videos later when there's like key signings, key trades, and whatnot. But as of now, I think the off season's pretty clear. Walker, I know he struggled. He needs to be your first baseman. I think he's signed for another year. His defense is key. I know he messed up last game, but he also got you to the playoffs. You don't really have any depth behind him besides the Spanish Titanic in the minor leagues, but I think he's a year away. Marte a second. I didn't like that his streak ended. I kind of hoped he got a hit in his last at-bat, but he's Mr. October, man. He proved it. He's second base. Shortstop, you can roll with Perdomo. I don't mind him being the bottom of the lineup. He looked at way too many strike 3 calls today. I don't like that. But I think that's a position that you can hold. I think he is a legit good ninth hitter when he's locked in. You do need a third baseman. Definitely. And I know the free agents aren't sexy. Like Chapman, he's good defensively, but he doesn't really have that much of a bat. Gio Urshela, he's been hurt all year. Like, the names aren't that good. So you might have to trade for some. But you can't, what they absolutely can do is have Perdomo play third and then Jordan Lawler play shortstop. Lawler, he just isn't ready yet. He could be your backup shortstop to Perdomo. Maybe Perdomo starts off slow next year, then Lawler comes in and he does a great job. It's kind of what Perdomo did. Not really, with Nick Ahmed. I was going to say, that was my plan going into this season, with Ahmed be the starter, but then have Perdomo come in. But Perdomo was just better off the start. So you do need a third baseman. Outfield, Corbin and Thomas. I know Alec had that screw up in the 9th inning, but that's your outfield. Who's going to be a right or left fielder? I know Pena is a free agent, but I think you can bring him back. I wouldn't be shocked if he left. But sure, I think it's possible to re-sign him. I know he's hot and cold, but he does provide that bat in the lineup. And the clubhouse seems to like him. I think guys that will be gone, I think Tommy Pham's gone. Castro, what a shame. I was probably one of the few people that really defended him early into the season because of how good he was in the 8th inning, but that just ended horribly for him. I don't think you have to change the bullpen too much. I think Thompson might be gone. I hope not, because I really like Thompson. Ginkel and Sewald should stay. I know Sewald had a lousy last 2 games, but you need that closer for the regular season. We didn't have that in the first half. Marino is your catcher. You need depth behind him. And you need a starting pitcher. So you need a third baseman, a backup catcher that's just reliable, and a starting pitcher. I think your rotation should be Gallen, Kelly, number 3, Fott, and probably Tommy Henry. I think you need a lefty in a 5-man rotation. I think the most you need is 2. You always need a lefty in the starting 5. So starting pitching, 1 real good guy, a third baseman, probably going to be a trade, but a signing will be cool, and a backup catcher. I'll end it with, you guys put me through a ride. It was stressful. I yelled and screamed. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of you guys. I embraced the chaos. Rattle on.